My beloved child, do you know there are attacks that make no sound, do not shake the earth, yet they erode the soul little by little. I see you still smiling, still moving forward, but your spiritual breath has grown faint without you even realizing it. As you stand at the threshold of the new season I have prepared for you, I want you to stay awake, because the most dangerous blows always come from the place you believe is safest. Long ago, before David faced Goliath, very few noticed that the real battle did not begin on the battlefield. It began on a quiet afternoon, where the young boy stood in the stillness of open fields. There was no thunder of warriors, no gleaming armor, only the low growls of lions and bears stalking the flock. Those threats were silent, unseen, unpraised. Yet it was there that David's faith was tested and refined. And do you know, Goliath was not the first enemy, nor the most frightening. The true enemy was complacency that could make David believe his own strength was enough. In the same way, what is quietly tightening around your spirit today is not meant to frighten you, but to remind you the most dangerous battle always takes place before you ever see a single giant. You still walk through your life from the outside. Everything seems fine, perhaps even peaceful. But I see the small cracks in your spiritual breath, anxieties with no clear source, weariness without any specific reason, and a sense of unsteadiness that visits in the night. You think it is only a passing feeling, but in truth, it is a warning that an unseen battle is silently tightening from within where no one sees, where you are most likely to loosen your guard. I do not say this to make you afraid, but so you will know when you draw near to the promise I have placed over your life. The enemy always seeks to extinguish the light before it flares. Not every blow arrives as a fierce storm. Most slip in through your smallest habits. A little distraction, a little content you watch just for fun, a few words that leave your mind exhausted. All of it is like droplets falling on the rock of faith, at first insignificant, but over time carving deep into the soul if you are not watchful. I see you pray less because you are busy, seek me less because you are tired, and then, without noticing, your spiritual armor grows thinner while you still believe you are strong. My child, the most dangerous thing is not a wide open door for the enemy, but a small crack you cannot be bothered to notice. Then one day, you still smile at people, still fulfill your duties, still serve as usual, yet inside there is a strange emptiness. Not because you are weak, but because you are quietly running dry without realizing what you lack. The long, sleepless nights, the tears you hide so carefully, the loneliness you feel, even in a crowd. These are spiritual signals I want you to recognize. For if you keep walking on crumbs of faith, you will collapse right before I open the new season for you. I will not let you go to the edge. I warn you so you will return and lean on me before that weariness makes you let go. My child, there are days I see your soul trembling lightly like a candle in the wind. Even when nothing outside seems intense, you keep going, keep working, keep saying you are fine. But I know a hollow space is slipping in between those ordinary breaths. The battle you think is outside is actually clinging deep within, where you pay the least attention. The small signs, unexplained fatigue, unease that comes and goes like a shadow, a loss of rhythm in your spirit, are the bell I am ringing, so you will realize you are under spiritual attack. Watch and pray so that you will not fall into temptation. The spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak. Mark 1:4-8. I am not saying this to make you anxious, but so you will know I am right there, seeing everything, reminding you not to dismiss what seems harmless inside your heart. Do you remember the story of Elisha and his servant that morning? The servant opened the door and saw the enemy surrounding the city. His heart shook, and his eyes could see only danger. But Elisha was different. He looked beyond what was visible. recognizing that the true battle was not the army outside, but the panic squeezing the servant's faith. When he prayed, I opened the servant's eyes to see countless angelic warriors standing ready on the mountain, mightier than any earthly threat. Do you see, danger has never been only external. The most frightening thing is when your spirit sees only hostility and forgets that I am still covering you. The enemy always begins by persuading you that you are alone, and from there it tightens the battle within you. Beloved, I see clearly the moments you ask yourself, why am I so tired when nothing big has happened? Yet it is precisely when everything is calm that your spirit is most easily lulled to sleep. When you rely on familiar routines, you forget the soul must be kept awake each day, because the enemy does not wait for you to become weak before striking. It plants small arrows, misdirecting thoughts, nameless feelings you assume are fleeting. That is how it tightens its siege, not loudly, not violently, but through gradual seepage, until you do not notice your faith receding like water drawing back little by little. I see you trying to appear strong, but I know there are silent spaces you have never dared to face, and it is there that the battle is quietly taking place. My child, I do not wait until you collapse before I come to rescue you. I am here, wanting you to return before small weariness becomes a deep chasm. Do not think you must be strong for me to be pleased. I want you to bring me even your fragile pieces, even the tangled thoughts you hesitate to admit. When you come back to me, even the battle within will turn, because I do not leave any soul to fight alone. Like David long ago before he faced Goliath, he learned to take refuge in me in quiet afternoons where no one witnessed it, and that refuge became true strength. Let me fight for you, because the inward battle is not a place you must win by yourself. I only need you to return, and I will take care of the rest. And do you know, though I always protect you, there are still small openings in everyday life that leave you more vulnerable than you think. It is not that the enemy is strong enough to break my wall of protection. It is the tiny cracks you accidentally leave unguarded. When your mind is pulled in 100 meaningless directions, when you allow foreign sounds to enter the space that should belong to me, your spiritual armor begins to thin day by day. I do not blame you. I only want you to understand that doors left not quite closed become entryways for what drains you. And when you grasp this, you will see why I call you to stay watchful in every moment, because even very small steps are enough to bring your soul back into the safe light I have prepared. My child, there are things that seem harmless, yet are quietly wearing down your spiritual strength without you noticing. I see your mind swept daily into countless sounds, images, stories, many, not evil, yet not nourishing to the soul. When your mind is filled with voices that do not come from me, you gradually struggle to recognize my gentle call. This is not a rebuke, but a reminder, so you understand why some evenings you feel tired without knowing why. Those little things become the first step toward openings that make you easier to strike than ever. You do not have to fall to be wounded. Sometimes a single speck of dust in the eye is enough to blur your vision. Remember the boy Samuel in the temple? That night, my voice called again and again. But Samuel assumed it was Eli because he was not yet practiced in recognizing my voice, and because familiar sounds around him led him to confusion. I did not fault Samuel. I called patiently until he stopped, listened, and said, "Speak, for your servant is listening." Do you see? My voice never goes silent. It is only that your mind becomes too full to discern what is my voice and what is distraction. When you let trivial things pass through, they make no great noise, yet they occupy spaces that were meant for me. And this trained ear for the world has caused many of my children to lose the ability to recognize what I am warning them about. I know there are moments you let yourself drift into scattered thoughts, telling yourself, just a little thinking won't hurt. But my child, the enemy never needs a wide open door, it only needs a small crack. and slowly it will tilt your heart a few degrees off course. A little insecurity, a little comparison, a little resentment together, they accumulate like tiny but persistent drops of water until they become a current that carries you away from the source of life. I do not want to see you lost in those undercurrents, because you were formed to walk in steadfastness, not in quiet exhaustion. I want you to realize what you feed in your mind today will become either strength or burden tomorrow. And if you are not watchful, the smallest things will become the cord that pulls you away from the peace I have for you. Beloved, do not wait until your soul is weary to return to me. If you will pause for a moment amid the familiar noise, if you will open again the door of prayer you have not stepped through for a long time, I will meet you right there. I am not seeking long, elaborate prayers. I want your heart open, even if only for a single breath. When you lay down empty entertainments, unhelpful stories, thoughts that weigh your mind down, you will see light return to fill the spaces you thought were ruined. I desire nothing more than to enter your mind before all else, so I can shield you from attacks you cannot see with ordinary eyes, for you belong to me, and I will not allow anything to steal your soul while you are unaware. There will come a time when you realize that spiritual neglect never crashes in all at once, in a single moment. It slips in through the choices you once considered small. One day you skip prayer, one day you hesitate to open the Bible, one evening you let worries drown out a conversation with me. None of it strikes like a storm, yet it seeps in like a cold mist sinking into the ground. I look at you and I want you not to accuse yourself, because noticing is the first step toward regaining watchfulness. All you need is to gather your mind again. Gently close the doors you unknowingly opened before, and let me remind you of the path back to safety. You were not formed to live in fragility. You were created to stand firm in the light, no matter how chaotic the world around you becomes. And when you understand this, you will enter a deeper part of the battle, learning how to guard your soul against the quiet things that drain you. My child, there are kinds of emptiness that make no noise, yet spread like a thin fog until your soul slowly grows cold and you can't even tell when it started. I see you still smiling at people, still working hard, still serving responsibly, yet the light within you has dimmed, not because you no longer love me, but because you are living on scattered fragments of faith. You read a few verses just to get through the day, pray hurriedly before sleep, and then tell yourself, that's enough. But beloved, a soul cannot thrive on crumbs. It needs breath from me. It needs fullness. It needs living water flowing continually. Otherwise, exhaustion will come to you very quietly. The most dangerous thing is not the storm, but depletion that happens little by little. There are nights when you lie still in the dark, eyes open yet unable to sleep, your heart heavy without knowing why. I see it all: the tears you try to swallow, the sighs you don't dare confess to anyone. Your soul is searching for somewhere to lean, yet it doesn't know that I am very near, only waiting for you to turn back. Like Elijah in those days, after fleeing and collapsing in weariness, he sat under a broom tree and wanted to let everything go. But I came not in a great wind, not in an earthquake, not in blazing fire. I came in a gentle whisper, so he would know I had not abandoned him, even when his strength was gone. It is the same with you. I do not wait for you to be strong before I draw near. I come closest when you are weakest, to remind you that the weariness inside is not the end, but an invitation to return to true peace. I understand the moments when you blame yourself for not having the same passion as before, when you worship, but your emotions no longer overflow, when you pray yet your heart still feels dry. You think you have failed, but in truth this is the natural result of being away from the source of life for too long. A branch separated from the tree does not wither immediately. It stays green for a few days before it dries out. In the same way, You can keep up spiritual activity for a while. But when the flow from me no longer nourishes you, your soul will gradually become exhausted. I do not condemn you, I only want you to realize that your life does not come from striving, but from connection. And the moment you return, that lifeline will surge again, restoring even the places you thought had already died. There are people who stand in the middle of a crowd and still feel alone. You have been there too. Not because you are unloved, but because your spirit is running dry and you don't know how to name it. The feeling that no one understands me or I'm invisible in all of this is not just emotion. It is a sign that your soul needs to be touched. I want you to know that this loneliness is not meant to torment you, but to draw you closer to me, because only in my presence will you stop fearing the emptiness within. Remember David before he became a mighty king. He had nights full of tears in caves, surrounded by isolation and pursuit, yet in the place that seemed darkest, he wrote words full of hope, because he knew I would not leave him in the night. So it is with you. The darkness will not break you if you let me be there with you. There will come a moment when you realize that this quiet exhaustion is what causes many people to let go right before I act most powerfully in their lives. Not because they are weak, but because they do not know they are running empty. I do not want you to step into a new season like that weak flame. Tired feet, confused heart. I want you restored before you enter what I have prepared. And when you begin to sense again the tenderness of your soul, when you understand that emptiness is not punishment, but a gentle warning, you will find a very natural step leading you into the decisiveness I have been waiting for, letting go of what wears you down, so you can lean on me and recover real strength. There you will see a door opening into wholeness softly. Unhurried, like the next chapter your soul has been waiting for all along. My child, many times you brace yourself just to appear as though you are fine. But I see the trembling hidden beneath that calm. You think trusting me means you must always be strong, always stand tall, never let anyone see your weakness. But beloved, faith is not a mask to hide the cracks. It is the arm you lift when you no longer have strength to stand on your own. I have never demanded that you become strong first and only then come to me. Even the greatest warriors in Scripture have fallen, and it was precisely when they admitted their helplessness that I lifted them higher than ever. I do not want you to strain yourself anymore. I want you to release, so I can hold you. Do you remember when Israel fought Amalek? Moses stood on the hill when his hands were raised. The people prevailed. When his hands grew tired and lowered, they weakened. But do you see? Victory did not come from Moses' strength. It came from his willingness to let others support his hands when he was weary. I placed Aaron and Hur beside him not because he was inferior, but because I wanted him to know this battle was never meant to demand that one person carry it alone. And so it is with you. I did not create you to fight by yourself. When you resist in your own strength, you will grow tired. When you surrender to me, you will be upheld by a strength that never runs dry. I see the days you read my word, but your mind is elsewhere. The moments you pray and the words drift away while your heart sits heavy. You think you have failed. But my child, that is not failure. It is a reminder that prayer, worship, and the Word of God are not tasks. They are where you survive, the source of fresh breath for your soul. When you let small things drain your faith, you will feel dry. But if you simply turn back to the things that seem familiar, you will find them more alive than you expected. For they are not rituals, but weapons, not habits, but refuge, not a schedule, but the way I cast my shadow over your soul to shield you from invisible blows. There are things you must decisively step away from, not because I want to take from you, but because they are leaking your spiritual flow. Conversations that leave your heart heavy, relationships not led by me, habits that erode your peace. These are like tiny holes at the bottom of a vessel, letting living water drain out continually while you wonder why you remain exhausted. I love you too much to watch you cling to what is making you weaker. If you set it down, I will fill that empty space with something better, something healthier, something that belongs to me. I will never ask you to surrender without restoration. What I have for you is always greater than what I invite you to leave. Do you know what moves my heart the most? When you choose to surrender to me, even with a trembling breath, I answer with an entire sky of protection. I have sent angels to guard you. I have raised a wall of fire around your life. I have shut doors the enemy tried to slip through. But there is one door I will never force, the door of your heart. When you open that door, when you say, I am weak, Lord, fight for me, that is the moment my power is displayed most clearly. You do not need to shout. A quiet call is enough. And I am already there. And when you let me fight for you, you will see that the battles that once terrified you are small in my hands. And one day, when you stand steadier, gentler, restored from within, you will realize that surrender does not make you weaker. It makes you strong in a way the world cannot understand. You will see more clearly the subtle movements of spiritual warfare, the gaps that need to be covered, the souls going through what you once endured, and in this new watchfulness, you will naturally step into a role I prepared long ago, not only one who is protected, but one who brings support to the weary. No need for grand declarations, no need for explanations. The quiet transformation in you will become an invitation to exhausted souls to return to the safety you found in me. My child, when your soul is restored and stands firm again, I see in you not only new life, but a light strong enough to guide those around you who are lost. You may think your former weakness was merely private wounds, yet I use the very places where you once fell as a support for those who are slipping. This battle has never been only about you. Every step you take, every word you speak, every breath upheld by me can become covering for someone else. I healed you so you could become cool water in the desert, quiet, yet enough to revive the thirsty. And when you see someone weary the way you once were, you will understand how I lifted you up, and you will know how to lead them to me. Gently, yet surely. Do you remember Joseph's story? My child, the young man sold by his brothers, falsely accused, thrown into prison, his life seeming like nothing but blows too heavy to rise from. Yet it was those very pains that became the foundation on which I set Joseph in a place where he could save an entire people. When his brothers came in the midst of famine, Joseph did not pour out vengeance. He looked at them and said that I had used his wounded years to preserve life for others. Do you see? Suffering did not crush him, it formed him into an instrument of deliverance. And so it will be with you. The places where you once wept, I will turn into places where you speak strength to parched souls, not with lofty philosophy, but with wounds I have healed. I want you to know that your words carry a spiritual weight you have not expected. When you complain, weariness spreads like a gray smoke. But when you speak faith, even a single small sentence can shift the atmosphere around you. You did not realize that every word you speak sows a kind of seed, either lifting people up or making their hearts heavy. Now that I have been reshaping you from within, I want you to become one who sows hope into others. An intercessory prayer, a word of encouragement, a hand gently resting on someone's shoulder. Sometimes these are what push back an entire stronghold of despair inside them. Your transformation is not only seen with the eyes, but felt in the peace that flows from the very words you speak. My beloved, I have placed weary souls around you. Not so you must carry them in your own strength, but so you may become a trumpet that awakens and a bridge that leads them back to me, not in some grand way, but through daily faithfulness. When you pray for your loved ones, for your family, for those you cherish, you are not merely speaking with me, you are raising a spiritual wall around them. when you warn gently, when you share about me, when you stand beside someone in weakness, you are activating a spiritual work far stronger than you imagine. You are sowing deliverance, and you yourself are guarded through it. I do not only want you to survive, I want you to become a vessel that carries life. And then, as you keep walking, you will realize that everything I have been doing in your life, from silent battles to restoration, to the steps of returning, does not end with you merely being safe. It leads you into a deeper position, the position of one who is called, one who bears light, one who knows how to stand in the fight not only for oneself, but for those I have entrusted to you. No loud trumpet, no reputation is needed, only a heart that stays soft before me and wide open to others. When you live this way, you become part of my stream of salvation, quiet, yet full of power, and you will see each day you open your mouth to intercede. Each time you stretch out your hands to lift another, I will stand behind you, completing what you cannot, so that everything blooms according to my will. My child, let me speak to you more deeply, more clearly, like a father, taking hold of your shoulders and looking straight into your soul to remind you, you are not ordinary in this vast world. You are the portion of inheritance I have chosen, the place upon which I have set my name, the instrument I guard with holy jealousy. There is no movement in your life that escapes my gaze, for you are where I dwell, a living temple into which I have breathed my breath. So each time pressure surrounds you, each harsh word is aimed at you, each tangled crossroads confuses you, none of it is accidental. They are arrows the enemy deliberately shoots to unsettle you, to make your soul spin after what is seen, instead of lifting your eyes to where I wait. He does not want you to look up, because he knows that the moment you look to me, the moment you call my name, everything he has built will collapse like ash beneath your feet. But today, I draw your gaze away from the storms before you and turn it higher, deeper, truer to the place where your help has never been late. I am the one who stood in the furnace with the 3 young men, the one who shut the lions' mouths before Daniel, the one who made the walls of Jericho tremble beneath the footsteps of faith, the one who broke Paul's chains in the darkness of prison, the one before whom every battle surrenders before it can even take shape. Yet for you to step into the current of that strength, you must return to me, rearrange your heart, realign your spirit, so it does not drift from the truth I have placed within you. You have passed through many seasons, lived through many experiences, and I know there were moments when you opened your heart to too many things that were not of me. You looked at what did not strengthen your soul. You listened to voices mixed with the noise of the world and mistook them for wisdom. You held on to small but persistent thoughts, quiet yet toxic emotions, doubts that seemed harmless but slowly ate away, layer by layer, at your spiritual armor. You thought you were only watching a little, listening for fun, thinking just a bit. But the enemy knows how to sow. He does not need a storm, he only needs a seed. A little doubt to make you hesitate, a little bitterness to pull you away from peace, a little distraction to make you neglect prayer, a small sin you think you can control. Then, little by little, those things weave into a cord around your soul, drawing you away from the source of life without you even realizing how far you have gone. He never charges in with a loud roar, he prefers to whisper. He does not break down the door, he only quietly lifts the latch. He does not knock you down at once, he slows you step by step, throws your breath off rhythm little by little, until the day you realize you are standing farther from me than you ever thought. And because you are far from me, you become vulnerable to things that should never have been able to shake you. I see it not to accuse you, but to stir you, to awaken spiritual eyes dimmed by the dust of weary days. I touch your ears so my calling becomes clear. so you can discern what is my voice and what is not of me. I want your heart to be soft and alert, not to fear, but to recognize your worth and the protection I built around you before anything began. You are the temple of my spirit, a holy place that must not become a playground for distorted voices. You are one I have placed in the battle not to collapse, but to stand firm like a lamp that never goes out in the deep night. I am jealous for you, not out of selfishness, but because I know nothing besides me can keep your soul whole. When you let worthless things slip into your mind, you are opening the door with your own hands for the enemy to sneak in, and I will not stand by while he steals the strength, the purity, and the peace I have placed within you. So I speak to you with the voice of a loving but resolute father. It is time for you to be decisive. You must loosen the invisible bindings. You must tear down destructive thoughts. You must sweep out the noise that has crept into your mind. You must turn off what is pulling you away from me little by little. But do not be afraid. When I call you to remove something, I have already prepared something better for you. When I ask you to let go of a toxic voice, I open to you my life-giving word. When I tell you to lay aside a habit that wears your soul thin, I pour into you a peace the world cannot give and cannot take away. You do not have to do it by your own strength. I never command and then stand back to watch. I walk with you. I restore each room in your mind. I light every dark corner in your soul. I drive back the words that have wounded your heart. I wash away what has clung for so long, leaving you tired without knowing why. You only need to open your heart for me to work, and the rest I will handle with a gentleness only I possess. And when you begin to cleanse your heart, when you begin to close your eyes to the world's noise and open spiritual eyes to look to me, you will see what once felt far away, peace. Not peace because everything goes smoothly, but peace in the middle of upheaval. Not peace because there is no enemy, but peace because I show you he cannot touch you when you rest yourself in me. When your heart returns to its rightful place, where I am the center, everything around you will also return to its proper order. What once sent you into panic will become small. What once made you uneasy will become meaningless. What once tried to crush you will become a stepping stone that lifts you higher. Let me rekindle your spiritual eyes, so you do not look at the world through fear, but through the awareness that I go before you in every battle. Let your ears not hear through anxiety, but through clear discernment between my voice and deception. Let your mind not be swallowed by useless whirlpools, but be guided by wisdom from heaven. And as you walk this path, you will not only be kept, you will become an instrument to protect many others. The light within you will illuminate their way. Your words will sow hope. The wounds you once carried but that I have healed will become proof that I truly am with you. Child of mine, rise from the dark corners where you have been sitting for too long. Do not let the whispers of doubt drag you back to the place I already rescued you from. Do not allow the harsh words of people to define your value. Do not let roots of bitterness sink deep, for they will bind your soul. Let me cut them away with my gentle hands. You are mine, and I will not allow any darkness to claim ownership over you. Step into the light I have laid out before you. Stand in the truth I speak over you. Let me restore what has cracked, gather what has scattered, and breathe into the parts you thought had died. Today is the day I shake your soul, so you will realize you were never meant to fight alone. It is the day I call you back to wakefulness, so you no longer fall into the trap of things so small yet strong enough to drain you. It is the day I lift your eyes higher so you can see I am still governing all things, even when your life sometimes looks like chaos. It is the day I remind you that my jealousy over you is not a burden, but a shield of protection. It is the day I declare you belong to me, and no enemy can change that. Do you remember Joseph's story, the young man sold by his brothers, falsely accused, Thrown into prison, his life seemed like nothing but blows he could never recover from. Yet it was those very pains that became the foundation on which I placed Joseph in a position to rescue an entire nation. When his brothers came in the midst of famine, Joseph did not pour out vengeance. He looked at them and said that I had used his wounded years to preserve life for others. Do you see? Suffering did not crush him, it made him a vessel of deliverance. And so it will be with you, the places where you once wept. I will turn into places where you speak words that uphold weary souls. Not with lofty philosophy, but with wounds I have healed. I want you to know that your words carry a spiritual weight you have never suspected. When you complain, weariness spreads like gray smoke, but when you speak faith, even a single small sentence can shift the atmosphere around you. You did not realize that every word you speak sows a kind of seed, either lifting people up or weighing their hearts down. Now that I have been reshaping you from within, I want you to become one who sows hope into others. A prayer of intercession, a word of encouragement, a gentle hand laid on someone's shoulder. Sometimes that is what pushes back an entire stronghold of despair inside them. Your transformation will not only be seen with the eyes, but felt in the peace that flows from the very words you speak. My beloved, I have placed weary souls around you, not for you to carry their burdens in their place, but for you to become a trumpet that awakens and a bridge that leads them back to me, not in grand ways, but through daily faithfulness. When you pray for loved ones, for your family, for those you cherish, you are not merely speaking with me, you are raising a spiritual wall around them. When you warn gently, when you share about me, when you stand beside someone who is weak, you are activating a spiritual act far stronger than you think. You are sowing deliverance, and you yourself are protected through it as well. I do not only want you to survive, I want you to become an instrument that brings life. And as you keep walking, you will realize that everything I do in your life, from silent battles to restoration to your steps of returning, does not end with you being safe. It leads you into a deeper place, the place of one who is called, one who carries light, one who knows how to stand in the battle not only for self, but for those I have entrusted to you. No loud trumpet, no fame, only a heart soft before me and wide for others. When you live this way, you become part of my current of salvation, quiet, yet full of power. And you will see each day you open your mouth to intercede. Each time you extend your hands to uphold someone, I will stand behind you, completing what you cannot complete, so that everything will blossom according to my will. My child, let me speak to you more deeply, more clearly, as a father who takes hold of your shoulders and looks straight into your soul to remind you you are not insignificant in this vast world. You are the inheritance I have chosen, the one upon whom I have set my name, the vessel I guard with holy jealousy. There is no movement in your life that escapes my gaze, because you are where I dwell, a living temple into which I have breathed my breath. So, when pressure closes in, when harsh words are aimed at you, when tangled crossroads leave you confused, none of it is accidental. They are arrows the enemy deliberately shoots to throw you off balance, to make your soul spin around what is seen, instead of lifting its eyes to where I am waiting. He does not want you to look up, because he knows that the moment you look to me, the moment you cry out to me, everything he has built will collapse like ash beneath your feet. But today, I draw your gaze away from the storms before you and set it higher, deeper, truer, where your help has never once been late. I am the one who stood in the furnace with the 3 young men, the one who shut the lions' mouths before Daniel, the one who made the walls of Jericho tremble under the footsteps of faith, the one who broke Paul's chains in the darkness of a prison night, the one before whom every battle surrenders before it can even fully form. Yet for you to step into that flow of strength, You must return to me. Reorder your heart. Realign your spirit so it does not drift from the truth I have placed within you. You have passed through many seasons, many experiences, and I know there were times you opened your heart to too many things that did not belong to me. You looked at what did not strengthen your soul. You listened to voices mixed with the world's noise and mistook them for wisdom. You held on to small but stubborn thoughts, quiet yet toxic feelings, doubts that seemed harmless but slowly ate away at each layer of your spiritual armor. You thought you were only watching a little, listening for fun, thinking just a bit. But the enemy understands how to sow. He does not need a storm, he only needs a seed. A little doubt to make you hesitate, a little bitterness to draw you out of peace, a little distraction to loosen your prayer, a small sin you believe you can control. Then, little by little, those things weave into a cord around your soul, pulling you away from the source of life without you even realizing how far you have drifted. He never charges in with a loud roar, he prefers to whisper. He does not break down the door, he only lifts the latch. He does not strike you down at once, he slows you step by step, delays your rhythm, breath by breath, until one day you realize you have been standing farther from me than you thought. And because you are far from me, you become vulnerable to things that should never have been able to shake you. I see this not to condemn you, but to stir you, to awaken the spiritual eyes that have grown dim under the dust of weary days. I touch your ears so my calling becomes clear again, so you recognize which voice is mine and which does not belong to me. I want your heart to be tender and alert, not so you live in fear, but so you recognize your own worth and the protection I built around you before anything began. You are the temple of my spirit, a sacred place that must not become a playground for deceptive voices. You are one I have placed in the battle not to collapse, but to stand like a lamp that never goes out in the deepest night. I am jealous for you, not out of selfishness, but because I know nothing else but me can keep your soul whole. When you let worthless things slip into your mind, you are opening the door with your own hands for the enemy to creep in, and I will not stand by while he steals the strength, purity, and peace I have placed within you. Therefore I speak to you with the voice of a loving yet resolute father. It is time for you to be decisive. Tear off the invisible bindings. Smash the destructive thoughts. Sweep out the noise that slips into your mind. Turn off the things that are pulling you away from me, little by little. But do not be afraid. When I call you to remove something, I have already prepared something better for you. When I ask you to release a toxic voice, I open to you my words full of life. When I tell you to lay down a habit that drains your soul, I pour into you a peace the world cannot give and cannot take away. You are not meant to do this in your own strength. I never command and then stand back to watch. I walk with you. I restore every room in your mind. I light up every dark corner in your soul. I push back the words that have wounded your heart. I wash away what has clung for a long time and made you tired without knowing why. You only need to open your heart for me to do it, and I will take care of the rest with a tenderness that only I possess. And when you begin to cleanse your heart, when you begin to close your eyes to the noise of life and open your spiritual eyes to look at me, you will see what once felt out of reach: peace. Not peace because everything goes smoothly, but peace in the midst of upheaval. Not peace because there is no enemy, but peace because I show you he cannot touch you when you hide yourself in me. When your heart returns to its right place where I am the center, everything around you will also return to its proper order. What once panicked, you will become small. What once unsettled, you will become meaningless. What once tried to knock you down will become the stepping stone that lifts you higher. Let me relight your spiritual eyes, so you do not look at the world through fear, but through the certainty that I go before you in every battle. Let your ears not listen through anxiety, but through clear discernment between my voice and deception. Let your mind not be drowned in useless spirals, but guided by the wisdom that comes from heaven. And as you walk this path, you will not only be kept, you will become an instrument to protect many others. The light in you will brighten their way. Your words will sow hope. The wounds you once bore but that I have healed will become evidence that I truly am with you. My child, rise from the dark corners where you have sat for too long. Do not let the whispers of doubt pull you back to the place I rescued you from. Do not allow the harsh words of people to define your worth. Do not let bitter roots grow deep, for they will bind your soul. Let me cut them away with my gentle hands. You are mine, and I will not allow any darkness to claim ownership over you. Step into the light I have spread before you. Stand in the truth I speak over you. Let me restore what is cracked, gather what is scattered, and breathe life into the parts you thought had died. Today is the day I stir your soul so you will recognize you were never meant to fight alone. Today is the day I call you back to wakefulness, so you no longer fall into traps that are very small, yet enough to exhaust you. Today is the day I lift your eyes higher so you can see I am still governing all things, even when your life sometimes looks chaotic. Today is the day I remind you that my jealousy for you is not a burden, but a shield of protection. Today I say you belong to me, and no enemy can change that. When you open your mouth to speak about what I have done in your life, it is not merely sharing, you are opening a spiritual doorway. When you send a message, when you let a verse of scripture touch someone in despair, when you tell someone they still have hope, heaven does not remain still. You sow the word, I act. You only need to sound a brief trumpet of awakening, and I will stir the power from on high to shield the one you are lifting up. You cannot see it with natural eyes, but every time you knock on someone's door through prayer, I assign angels to stand watch at the door of your home. When you whisper amen, heaven's response is never a whisper, it comes like fire. Dissolving unseen attacks, it comes like new breath, reviving the places that seem dead inside the one you are interceding for. You may not realize it, but the spiritual realm trembles when you step into the position I have entrusted to you. You must understand that your life carries value far beyond what you imagine. Every moment you walk with me is never wasted. No time of yours is stolen when you place it in my hands. No future is shattered when I am the keeper. No dream of yours is buried when I am the one who breathes life into what seems decayed. I know there were times you worried your youth was passing in vain, that the years you served went unseen, that the tears you sowed at night were misunderstood, that your efforts would disappear in the stream of life. But I see it all. I record it all. I protect every piece of your life you thought had been taken from you. No one can touch what I have appointed for you, and if the enemy has ever tried, it will learn that it only causes me to rise even more powerfully to defend you. Even your health, I cover. The fatigue, the unexplainable aches, the anxieties that weigh your heart down, they will not destroy you if you place them into my hands. I do not want you living in fear that your body will not be enough to enter the new season. I upheld you when you were weak. I will replenish you when you are weary, and I will restore the places you thought had lost strength. I do not only heal wounds, I renew the very source of strength. Remember this, what belongs to me. The enemy cannot destroy, and you belong to me. And do you know what? In all things, the enemy never has the final word, even if it tries to sow doubt, even if it wears you down, even if it breathes lies into you. It cannot end the story I am writing over your life. The final word always belongs to me, the one who called you before you entered your mother's womb, the one who guarded you when you thought you were alone, the one who made a way even when there was no path ahead of you. My word to you today is not temporary comfort. It is a spiritual decree with power to reshape your future. Live. Rise up. Shine. For my light has touched you, and my glory is breaking over your life, like dawn, shattering the morning mist. You are not only saved, you are sent. Not only supported, you are empowered. Not only protected, you are called to lead others into the light. And when you walk with that awareness, when you understand the life I give you is not merely to help you survive, but to overflow through you, you will see that every step you take has purpose. You will see light spilling from your words, from simple acts, from quiet intercession. You will see change in your family, in those you love, in those who once seemed beyond return. You will become a stream that never stops flowing, healing cracked and barren ground. You will become a bell in the night, awakening souls that have fallen asleep. You will become a lamp set on a hill, not to perform, but to guide. And I, as your Father, will stand with you in every step, every word, every breath. Take heart, for this battle does not end in darkness, it ends in glory. And you are part of that glorious plan. You only need to keep standing, keep believing, keep shining, and I will do the rest. My child, let me speak to you with all the longing in my heart, because the road you have just walked through unseen battles, through spiritually worn down days, to the moment you began to recognize my hand lifting you up does not end there. A new journey is opening, a depth you have never stepped into before. And now I want you to know this call is not only to comfort you, but to awaken you, to empower you, to ignite within you a mission I set in place before you ever existed. Now that your soul has learned the difference between darkness and light, has tasted both dryness and restoration, you have become the most fertile ground for me to plant a spiritual calling greater than your own life. Not because you are better than others, not because you are stronger, but because you have allowed me to touch the deepest places, the most painful points, and that tender-heartedness makes you someone who can uphold others with living truth that many still fear to face. Do you know what I treasure most in you? It is your willingness, even if only a little for me, to use your wounds as a lamp to light the way for souls stumbling in the dark, those walking through what you have just escaped. I want you to understand that every pain you have endured does not vanish in vain. I keep it like stones that build a bridge you will one day lay down for others to cross. There are people around you who are exhausted, who can barely breathe, who are losing strength in battles no one sees. They carry forced smiles just like you once did. They hide confusion behind busy work. They live in a state of just a little longer, though their spirit has wanted to collapse for a long time. The day will come when I bring them near you, because you have walked through what they are walking through, and only one who has reached the bottom knows how to take another's hand without hurting them further. I will use the healing in you like oil poured over their wounds before new skin has even formed. I will use the new strength I have placed within you to shatter the lies that are drowning them. You will not teach them with theory. You will lift them with living proof, with breath, with story, with the gentleness I taught you when you were at your weakest. Beloved, I have placed upon your mouth the power of declaration, not power for display, but power to break the whispers of despair that surround others. A word you speak when you stand in me can drive back an entire dark cloud pressing down on a soul. A prayer of intercession from you, even as small as a candle, is enough to make darkness hesitate. You cannot see it with your eyes, but I see every spiritual movement that happens each time you speak. When you release encouragement, heaven takes note. When you pray for someone, my angels are dispatched at once according to that word. You are the outstretched arm of a kingdom that cannot be measured by feelings. I am entrusting you with what only those who have been broken and then renewed by me carry with enough humility and mercy to deliver rightly. You will become a trumpet of awakening, not through shouting, but through peace. You will become a bridge of rescue, not by your own strength, but by my presence flowing through you like water, gentle, yet mighty. Your loved ones, your family, those you cherish. They too are standing in a battlefield they do not know how to name. Every prayer you pray for them is not lost. It stands like an invisible barrier between them and the spiritual arrows seeking to pierce through. You do not have to say much to them. You do not have to convince anyone to understand you. Simply stand firm. Stand in the place I have set you, and I will let the light in you do what words cannot. There are battles where it only takes one person in a family surrendering to me for me to open a way for the whole household. There are words I am preparing to speak to them, but I will speak through you, through your gentle voice, through your small actions, through your kindness when they are fragile. You are not only saved, you are being entrusted. I want you to recognize that where you go will no longer be random. I will lead you into conversations you think are merely coincidental, but are truly assignments. I will let you hear the sighs no one hears, so you can sense the spiritual pain behind them and know how to intercede. I will illuminate you to discern the hidden attacks striking others, and I will use you as a shield so they do not fall before they know how to return. You will notice what others overlook: a tired glance, a careless remark, a small behavior that is actually a cry for help. You will see because I have opened your spiritual eyes. You will feel because I have touched your heart. And when you speak, you will not speak with your own wisdom, but with my whisper flowing through your soul. Then you will find yourself growing into this calling without ever noticing the moment it began, like a seed sprouting beneath the soil, quiet, unseen, yet one day rising with strength. Your words will change. Your actions will deepen. Your patience will widen. Your mercy will thicken. Not because you force yourself to become better, but because I am doing the inner work in you, little by little, beyond what you perceive. You will become a refuge for souls knocked down by the winds of life. You will become a voice that turns them toward the light. You will become a gentle reminder that they still have worth. They are still loved. There is still a way out. I will use you as part of a rescue plan heaven prepared long ago. And you will no longer live only for yourself. You will live with purpose, with weight, with a spiritual imprint no one can extinguish. Vaziedai, my child, if deep within you, you sense that each of these words is going straight from me to your heart, then respond with a small but deeply spiritual act. Press like on this video as a sign that you are opening your heart, that you are saying to me, I receive. Lord, I hear you, and I agree with what you are doing in my life. Leave your name in the comments, not so that I may count people, but so that I may see each name fully. I am looking at every face. I am laying my hand upon every heart. I am setting apart those whom I have chosen to enter a new season, a season of rescue, healing, and the unveiling of power no longer hidden. And, my child, subscribe to this channel as an act of sealing. As though you were signing a covenant with me, I want to walk with you. I want to hear your voice every day. I do not want to lose the wakefulness you have just rekindled in me. This is not entertainment. This is a spiritual doorway, a place I use to speak, to correct, to uphold, and to guide those who truly seek me. Now, be still for a moment. Do not rush to do anything else. Place your hand over your heart and feel the gentlest stirring, like a breeze passing through, like my breath touching the hidden corners you have kept tucked away for so long. This is not imagination. It is me confirming to your soul that everything has been activated. Heaven's covering is resting upon you. The unseen battles that have disturbed you are being cut off. Your spirit has just been awakened one layer deeper. And from this moment on, your life will not return to what it was before, not because everything outside changes instantly, but because you have changed. And when your heart changes, the journey ahead will be rewritten by me with light, with safety, with strength you never knew you carried. You have been awakened. You have been set apart, and I will lead you. Keep walking. I am here. You are not alone. My child, I see you walking through long, crowded days, while your soul seems to shrink back little by little, silent, not because it is at peace, but because it is weary. I see clearly that the song of praise that once burned brightly within you now remains only like a distant echo. Not because you no longer love me, but because the flame in your heart is flickering in the chaotic winds of life. I see you begin each new day with hurried feet, your mind filled with work and responsibility, until the simple gratitude that once warmed you has been pushed to the very bottom of the list of things for later. You are present in so many conversations, so many meetings, so many plans, yet you are slowly absent from the deepest space of your own being, the place where I have always waited for you to return. And that absence is what concerns me most, because when your soul drifts far from the source of life, it does not wither at once. It quietly weakens, like a stream slowed by small stones, until the flow becomes too thin to hold you up against the spiritual storm that is rising around you, unseen by your eyes. Beloved, I know you did not mean to move away from me. This distance was not created in a day, a week, or a month. It was formed in the moments you were tired and did not pray, busy and did not worship, rushed, not speak with me, when you said, "Tomorrow I'll pray more deeply," or "I'm too busy today, I'll read your word later." And those later moments piled up, becoming a quiet distance enough for your soul to cool down without you noticing. You thought you were fine because work still moved. Responsibilities were still carried. Actions were still steady. But I know that fine has only been a cloak over a body that is exhausted. The danger is not that you are weak because I can lift you up, but that you do not realize you are weak and keep walking, unaware, into a battlefield without carrying your weapons. Spiritual warfare does not wait for you to be ready. It only waits for a crack in your soul to slip through. But my precious one, I did not call you today to place any additional burden upon you. I do not come as a judge taking roll of your failures. I come as a father who sees his child scraped and bruised and bends down to bandage the wounds. You have lost your rhythm, but you have never been removed from the map of my love for you. You have not lost your place in my heart, and you have never lost your right to begin again. I do not keep score of your perfection. I take notice of every time you turn back, even if you return with trembling feet or a heart still full of turmoil. For I am the one who makes new what you thought was old, who brings to life what you believed had gone out, who raises up what you assumed was no more. You must understand that even when your soul is weak, I do not see that as failure. I see it as a call for me to draw nearer to you. Your weakness does not push me away. Your weakness makes me open my arms wider, like a father watching his little child wobble as it learns to walk. He does not scold when the child falls. He bends down, lifts the child up, brushes off the dust, and steadies the steps for a little farther. I am doing that for you. I do not expect you to stand strong at all times. What I long for is that you know how to run to me whenever your feet begin to falter. For if you do not return, you will keep pressing forward by your own strength, and your own strength is never enough to withstand the unseen blows you cannot even see. Remember, this restoration does not begin with appearance, with feelings, or with achievements. It begins when you stop, when you slow down, when you look within, when you admit that you are tired. Then I can begin to heal the deepest places of your soul. I never wanted you to live like a warrior who does not know how to pause for breath. I created day and night, rainy seasons and sunny seasons, to remind you that even nature does not hold strength endlessly without passing through rest. So why do you think you must do everything alone, never allowed to stop, never allowed to be weak? I gave you breath, And I also gave you the right to rest in my arms, no matter where you are. No matter how far you feel you have drifted from me, you can begin again in this very moment. You do not need to wait until your heart is burning again before you come to me. All you need is a whisper, Father. I'm coming back, and I will immediately move toward you like the father who runs to embrace the prodigal son while he is still far off. I have never loved you less, even when you prayed less. I have never forgotten your voice, even when you forgot to call my name. You can realign your path, and I will walk beside you, as in the beginning. You keep thinking that to return to me, you need powerful emotions like you had in the early days of faith. But, beloved, sometimes returning does not come with overflowing feelings. It comes with a slow step, a deep breath, a gentle but honest decision. I do not rebuild you in haste. I heal you with patience. My love does not change with your emotions. It remains there, like a lighthouse that never goes out, waiting for you to look up. The spiritual battle around you is still there. But when you step back under the shadow of my wings, you will not have to fight alone. You will have a peace the world cannot understand, a strength that does not come from striving but from connection, and the discernment to recognize what is my voice and what is leading you astray. You will see that what once exhausted you no longer has the power to weigh you down, and what once frightened you no longer makes you tremble. For when you are in me, no attack can reach your soul without my knowing. You have never gone too far to return. You have never fallen too deep for me to pull you up. You have never been lost too long for me to find you. The only moment I am waiting for is the moment you open your heart, so I can rekindle the flame you thought had died and set you back on your feet in the storm like a warrior nourished by the very breath of your father. And then, when you feel life returning, when your breathing grows lighter, when your heart warms again, when your steps no longer feel as heavy as before, you will understand that I never called you to accuse you. I called you because I want to see you strong in my love, steady in the face of the unseen battle unfolding every day. You still have the right to begin again, the right to rise, the right to step into the new season I have prepared for you with both faith and clarity. For you are my child, and that will never change, no matter how many headwinds your soul must pass through. My child, before I speak what comes next, I want you to take a deep breath, because these words are not to condemn you, but to touch the deepest place you have not dared to face. I ask you not to corner you, but to pull you out of the spiral of exhaustion you have endured for far too long. How much longer will you keep trying to manage on your own? How much longer will you fight in silence, bracing yourself against the growing waves of emotion within, without giving me even a small space to step in? How much longer will you live as though you must carry the entire spiritual battle on your frail shoulders? A battle that even the mighty who went before could not win without leaning on me. Do you know that every time you choose to endure alone, you are stepping away from the source of strength that was prepared for you before you took your very first breath? Every sleepless night, every tear you swallowed, every looping thought that makes your heart feel heavy as stone, all of it is a sign I have been sending to remind you that your own strength is not enough, that you are reaching your limit, and that I want to carry you through the stretch of road you can no longer walk by yourself. You still think I am far away, but in truth, I am so near that even your faintest whisper can stir heaven. When your soul fractures, I do not stand and watch, I bend down, placing my hand upon every wound you have tried to hide from the world. I am not afraid of the shadowed corners you fear, to face the rooms within your spirit you have kept locked for years, terrified that if you opened them, even you would not endure the truth. But I do not fear the dark. I am the light, and light always enters wherever it is invited. You quietly conceal your pain from others because you fear they will not understand. Fear they will belittle you, yet I know every trembling beat of your heart, every unseen scratch upon your spirit that no words can describe. I see where the enemy has set traps for you. I see the small openings it has made in your emotions, the depths it exploits when you fall into silence. I know exactly how it strikes through the memories you try to forget, the careless words someone once left behind, and the nameless fears you thought you had already mastered. It does not attack with a storm all at once. It chooses instead to slip in on the nights you are tired, in moments when you let your guard down, when your mind drifts with no anchor. It watches how you respond each time you are disappointed, each time you are wounded, each time your heart grows weak. It knows what makes you sway, what steals your joy, what causes you to doubt yourself. But what it could never foresee is that today, I step into that inner sanctuary with liberating power, not with a majestic roar, but with a presence strong enough to shake the fortresses that have bound you for so long. I do not come only to comfort. I come to break the invisible bonds you have unknowingly made in moments of vulnerability. The words you spoke in despair, the thoughts you nurtured in secret, the feelings you claimed as your own though they were never yours, these have become cords, arrows driven deep into your soul, throwing you into turmoil. The enemy wants you to believe that this is your nature. But no, none of it ever belonged to you. They were burdens forced into your heart through the years you wandered far from me. But now, as you listen to my voice, those burdens are falling away. In the realm of the Spirit, heaven is stirring. Angels are being sent forth, carrying the peace you have lacked for so long. The breath of my Holy Spirit is moving through where you live, through your mind, through the unrest you have never been able to set in order. A cleansing is taking place. A renewal is beginning to form. A preparation is at work that your eyes cannot see, yet your soul can feel with unmistakable clarity. Let me make this unmistakably clear. You are not alone, and you are not abandoned in this battle. What is happening within your spirit right now is not chaos, it is rebuilding. When I come, I do not merely patch what is torn, I restore the very foundation you lost in seasons when you were too weary to keep yourself. You are being awakened from a numbness you never realized was pressing upon you. You are seeing where the true battle lies, not in outward upheavals, but in the hidden exhaustion within. You have stepped into your true place, the place of one who knows they need support. But, beloved, I need you to stand firm. I need you not to return to the old habits that once made you vulnerable. I need you not to reopen the doors I have closed for you. I need you to boldly say, enough, to the things that have quietly drained your soul without you even realizing it. There is still one more thing I want you to understand deeply. When my light pours in, darkness does not only flee, it screams. It resists. It tries to cling to the places it once occupied. You will see old thoughts trying to return. You will feel resistance rising in your emotions. You will notice fears attempting one final ascent. Do not be afraid. This is not a sign that you are failing. It is proof that the chains are breaking. You have entered a passage of transfer, where what is not mine is being driven out of your life, and what is mine is taking shape within you. I am gathering the scattered fragments of your soul and forging them into a new whole, stronger, lighter, brighter than before. Do not think that the steadfastness I ask of you is beyond you. Steadfastness in my eyes is not never trembling. It is trembling and still choosing to cling to me. Steadfastness is not never being weak. It is being weak and still praying, Lord, hold me. Steadfastness is not never wavering. It is wavering yet falling toward me rather than into the old darkness. And as you stand firm in this way, you will realize that my presence surrounds you like an unbreachable fortress. You will see that peace does not come from circumstances, but from a protection that surpasses understanding. You will see that strength does not come from striving, but from letting me fight for you. My child, what I am doing today is not a temporary repair. I am changing the very structure of your spiritual life. I am uprooting the thoughts that once made you shrink back. I am silencing the voices that made you doubt. I am erasing the marks the enemy left in seasons when you did not even know you were wounded. Every movement in your spirit right now is evidence that I am placing you into something better than what you have just walked out of. And because of that, I need you to keep standing firm, not by your own strength, but by the surrender you have just courageously placed into my hands. You have come this far, do not turn back again. You have heard my voice, do not let other voices distract you. You have begun stepping into the light. Do not grieve the old darkness that once made you feel safe. You have found your spiritual breath again. Do not allow anything to choke it even one more time. I began this battle for you, and I will finish it for you. But I want you to keep walking, even if only in small steps, because every step you take is a declaration that darkness no longer has authority over you. And as you remain in that light, you will see what I have prepared for so long, a life not only saved, but used to rescue. You only need to stand firm, the rest let me do. My child, let me speak to you with a breath that is gentle and deep, so your soul does not only hear with the ears, but hears through the very wounds that once made you weary. You are still walking amid countless invitations from the world, empty conversations that seem harmless, yet slowly gnaw at the life within you. There are words you heard and thought you forgot, but they remain in your mind like fine dust, accumulating long enough to make you heavy without knowing why. I see the evenings when you are too tired to even open your mouth to pray. I see the mornings when you wake with a worn-out spirit, though your body still functions as usual. It is not that your faith is lacking. You are being pulled from me by things so small you never thought they could destroy you. And because they are small, you dismiss them until, little by little, your soul is drained by stories that do not build you, by talk that only muddies your mind, by scattered thoughts that keep you from hearing my voice clearly. The enemy does not attack with a loud roar. It chooses sounds as soft as a whisper. It does not need to tear down the walls. It only needs you to leave a small window open. Distraction is how it throws your heart out of rhythm with me. It wants you preoccupied with what does not nourish you, so your mind grows weary without knowing why. It wants you to sink into meaningless arguments, so you wear down little by little while thinking you are defending what is right. It wants you to feed bitterness, because it knows bitterness does not only wound those you think about, it poisons the deepest place in your soul. And what it hates most is freedom in your mind, because when your mind belongs to me, it cannot imprison you with any emotional chain. I tell you this not to make you afraid, but to awaken you to truth. Your soul is not bound. You are not being manipulated. You are not a playground for any darkness. You belong to me. And when I speak a word, no power has the right to deny it. I know what you have been going through. Do you think I have not seen? I see how you try to appear normal while inside you are cracking. I hear the sighs you keep trapped in your chest because you do not want anyone to worry. I feel the emptiness you cover with brief smiles, with the words "I'm fine" that even you do not believe. You have tried to be a refuge for others, while sometimes you yourself only wanted a shoulder to lean on. You have carried every pressure, trying not to disappoint anyone, trying to be stronger than you truly have been. But did I create you to bear burdens by